All right, on tonight's episode of Old School Cool, we're going to check out photographs. And this is probably part 2 of the series I'm doing on old photographs. And why do I collect old photographs? Because I like to collect old things, and I'm old myself. So let's check out some of the different kinds of photos that you'll come across on eBay and antique shops and possibly thrift stores and flea markets and estate sales and whatever floats your boat when you're looking to buy old things. And so what we have here is 2 Civil War photo albums, Civil War era that is, and 1890s visiting cards, or, well, really not visiting cards, but cabinet cards, photos. And, okay, I'm getting myself nervous. I get nervous when I speak to people. As you can tell, I'm pretty muckle-mouthed about that and shy. And so what we got here is a tattered old photo album that a gentleman would generally carry around in his breast pocket of his suit jacket. And this is actually really, really old. This is Civil War era, 1860s. And this one is in really bad shape. Generally, these disintegrate with age. And as you can see here, this one actually disintegrated and fell apart pretty much. And all the photos are gone. Why are all the photos gone? Because there are a bunch of dealers on eBay that take these old photo albums filled with photos and decide to sell each and every one of the photos separately just to make more money than selling the whole entire album. And it pretty much sucks and pisses me off as a collector. I'd much rather have a whole entire family intact in one album than to end up having to buy Lucy's. I call these Lucy's on eBay for like $3 to maybe $8 a piece. And sometimes as much as like $200 to $500 to $1,000 for one photo that's really rare. And generally, you don't really find too many of them. And here we go. So here's 1860s. And this is a mini photo album. This was like a travel size photo album. As you can see, it's very, very thin. And I didn't even realize. I think it says something on it. Does it say something? No. It's just little designs. Yeah. Gold gilded designs. Sometimes even the edges of the pages are gilded, like you see here. But this would have been a travel book. And let's open it up. You've probably seen it before in another one of my videos. But repeating because, I'm repeating videos because pretty much my content sucks. And there's nothing left to show you guys. So here we go. So this book actually costs 75 cents in the 1860s. And 75 cents was actually quite a bit of money because a dollar was about $35 around that time. So here we go. Photograph album. And this one is from Philadelphia. And I hate touching these things because they disintegrate from age. Now, a lot of times you'd find an index with names written in it. But this family decided not to write anything, which sort of sucks because you can't look any of these people up. So what do we have here? Now, there was many, many different photos actually over the decades from the beginning of photography, which started in around 1826 when you had your first photograph taken by a French scientist. And I think he took a picture of his balcony and what was in his yard in 1826. And then you had tintypes, daguerreotypes, don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, ambrotypes, carte de visites, which are these are carte de visites. And then we went to cabinet cards and Polaroid pictures and regular pictures of today. And so here we go. So what do we have here? The image is pretty old school cool. And let's zoom in on that and check it out. Who are these people? Do you recognize them? You probably don't. You were probably thinking it was General Tom Thumb. And I almost made that mistake at first. But no, it's not General Tom Thumb. All right, I'm joking. It's really General Tom Thumb and his wife and the birth of his child. And let's find out more information because, I don't know, it's quite interesting, I think. And I guess midgets were actually, or little people as they call them today, were actually quite interesting. And so interesting that P.T. Barnum, right here, the guy that said a sucker is born every minute because pretty much he got people to pay to go into his tents and watch his circuses and his freak shows. And pretty much, he got pretty much suckers to buy his tickets to go see his things, and he became a millionaire. And so who is General Tom Thumb? Let's find out. All right. So the cool part is back in 1863, his marriage, right here to this lady, to Lavinia Warren, became front page news. The wedding took place at a church, and the wedding reception was held at New York City's Metropolitan Hotel. It was a great big deal, and it had 10,000 guests. And the best man at the wedding was George Washington Morrison, otherwise known as Commodore Nutt, another dwarf. And that's pretty messed up. And under P.T. Barnum's management, became a wealthy man. Actually, maybe P.T. Barnum wasn't such a bastard after all. Maybe he really wasn't. And yeah. So why is General Tom Thumb in this person's photo album? Well, because it was really cool at the time to see such a man who was teeny tiny having a normal life and a normal wife and a normal child. And it actually probably had this family really, really interested. And so they put the photo in their album as a keepsake. And so here we go. We got these really, really, really amazing Civil War era photographs, as you see here. And I showed you this album before, so I might not even bother showing it to you. Should I? I don't know. Let's check out a few more pictures of Civil War era people. And you can see the really cool hand painting. Well, they were hand colored, that is. And photos were not colorized until, well, actually 1861. Photos were colorized, but it was so expensive, nobody had color photos, except for the fact that the photographer would charge just a bit more just to get things colorized, like this gentleman's bow tie over here, and the drape that's draped over the arm of the chair in this picture. And so you had to have a little bit more money than the regular general population to get your photos colored like this, which is quite cool. So we got these old school cool photos, and here's a tintype. And again, it's another type of photograph that they were not only printed on paper, they were printed on tin as well. And why do they call them tintypes? I don't know. I think it had something to do with the fact that they used tin scissors to cut sheets of metal. I was going to say shits of metal. Sheets of metal to make the little square that could fit in the album. And there you go. Old school cool. And it's only a couple of pages, so we'll check it out. And there you go. Now we progressed on probably to the late 1860s. And you could tell by the higher collars, we're getting probably around 1870 in these photos. And last but not least, we got this cool guy. Hold on. There we go. And that is really old school cool. So let's check out these 1890s, actually cabinet cards. You could tell that there's a big difference in size. Let's show you the difference between these photos and these photos. Almost like General Tom Thumb compared to a normal man. Okay, so we have our cabinet cards here. And I like actually how durable these were. If you look at these, compared to the size of my hand, they're actually quite large. And they would fit in a cabinet. And they would be placed upright, sometimes even framed, given away to family members and friends as gifts. And sometimes they would have graphics on the back of the studio. And this actually was sold by a dealer for like $1. Or is it $1? And that pisses me off because they took this photo out of an album and they actually misplaced the whole entire family just for $1. Can you imagine that? How stupid. All right, let's try to find the graphics on the back. I just wanted to show you the studio graphics. This one doesn't have one. It figures whenever I want to show you something. Sometimes the studio name would be on the bottom and not the back, like here. And sometimes they would be on the bottom and on the back. So let's check it out. Okay, so we have a studio name on the back of here. Now, really, really, really cool studios later on, probably around the 1890s, would actually make the studio name even bigger. The bigger the font and the bigger the size taking up the back of the card, you know, the later you have. The earlier ones had smaller studio names written on them or stamped. All right, so let's check out these guys and these kids. All right, so I'm going to try to cut the chit chat out because I talk too much. We'll go through this really fast and we'll look at these really old images. I might comment once in a while on an outfit or a type of background that I think is cool, like this one. Look at this. He's holding his hat in one hand. And really awesome, awesome pocket watch chain dangling. This guy is actually quite interesting, so I will commentate on it. Okay, so he's wearing a sash, and he has some kind of thing written on it, I think. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. All right, I see stars. I see like an American flag. Okay, so this gentleman was probably a Civil War veteran, which is really quite cool to see. Yeah, he definitely looks like a Civil War veteran. I can see some pins on his lapel. Let's try to zoom in. Can we see anything? Yes, he looks like he was definitely a Civil War veteran. That's quite cool for 1890s photo over here. And the cool thing about it is on the back we got a name, Alfred Thorne. And you can do actually research and find out who these people were. Now this was taken in Baltimore, Maryland, I guess. Yes, Baltimore, Maryland. So we can look up this guy, Alfred Thorne, on the internet under probably findagrave.com, and find out more about this man. Oh, we got a name. Uncle Mike McMahon, it looks like. Oh, wow, cool graphics. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Around the 1890s and on, like 1900 or so, 1905, you had these big graphics on the back of the cards. And the earlier ones had smaller graphics. We even have them on the bottom here for the studio name. And we got a name. Okay, let's try to zoom out. It's hard to read this. Okay, so it says this was taken in 1888. Okay, earlier than I thought, age 17 years. I wish they would have put a name. Wow, that's pretty cool. All right, so I could be wrong. I'm not an expert. So these photos could be taken anywhere between the 1880s to the 1890s. That's a cool image. And again, we have this cool graphics on the back. And we got names. Okay, and dates. May 8th, 1889. What's the name? It says Marmin Anderson. Interesting. And we got info, 1891. Very sincerely yours, Francis. Looks like maybe Forwood. September 21, 1891. And we got more info, 1890. And I can't really read it. I like looking at the accessories they used to wear. Those are great glasses. Now, generally, I'm not an expert, but when you saw stuff like this, like flowers and an urn and stuff like that going around, I think those are forget-me-not flowers. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if you saw something like that, that was generally a memorial for someone who died, who had taken a photo earlier at a different time and place, but they had kept the negatives and they had this photo actually reproduced on some kind of card with something like this going around it. That's actually quite sad. Now, this looks like a Civil War era photo of a gentleman that was probably taken sometime in the 1860s, and they kept the negatives, and a couple of decades later, they reproduced the photo, which is quite interesting. Too bad there's no info on the back. It's very hard to get these apart. I don't want really to touch them too much. And here we go. That looks like the guy that was wearing the garland. If you notice, remember the guy that was wearing the garland, the war veteran guy? It could very possibly be the same guy. I don't know why he's looking familiar to me. Let's try to find that photo if we can. And I'm looking for it. And I'm going through the whole entire stack trying to find it. Let's see. Can we find it? And can we match up our guy? It's like playing a game. Where is that photo? My goodness. And, okay, wait. I found the photo. Is it the same guy? Maybe it's just the mustache that looks familiar. Could possibly be. This was purchased by an eBay seller. And I wouldn't be very good in police lineups if I had to pick out who the criminal was. But I don't know. The eyes look the same to me. This was sold by an eBay seller, and the whole lot of photos came in one pack, but without the album. Could be. I want you to tell me in the comments below. Is this the same guy? Maybe his hair got a little more receding in this picture. But then again, the hairline looks about right. Let's check it out. I think it's the same guy. And do we have a name or any information on the back? No, we don't. But both from Baltimore, Maryland. Actually, all these photos are from Maryland. And that is really a cool image of a man with a beard. And any name on the back? The answer is no. But that's quite a great image. Let me just zoom out just a little bit. Okay, there we go. I just didn't want you to see my messy kitchen. Nobody wants to see my messy kitchen. No info on the back. Interesting. No info again on the back. I really like this one because look at the interesting edges on this card. Actually, card. I think I was getting fancy with French for a moment, but there we go. It looks like somebody drew in his pupil. And it could have been the photographer. I don't know why. That's quite odd. No info on the back of who it is. And we have Mustache Man over here. I've seen him in another picture. He looks quite familiar to me. Again, this could have been one family, and the eBay seller just didn't have the album. Sold for $1. One doll hair. You can separate a whole entire family and sell them individually on eBay, which sort of sucks. The guy has like a haunting stare. His eyes are so penetrating and piercing. And actually, I thought that was the same guy. Maybe. Could be. Let's check it out. Could be the same guy. Again, I would suck at police lineups. I would let the criminal go. And again, that looks like our guy that was wearing the garland. Looks like the same guy. Could possibly be. $1. $1 here. And we're getting down to the end. That's a great image. Look at that. Quite cool. And this guy. Now this is an older photo. You could tell by the graphics on the back. It's not as pronounced like, say, this one, where the whole entire card has the graphics on it with the studio. And this one looks like an older photograph. And you don't have the studio name on the bottom like this one. I'm going to guess that this one was taken in the 1870s. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But this could have definitely been taken in the 1870s. Really quite cool. Now, I was going to show you this pile, but I noticed that a lot of people get very, very bored very, very easily watching YouTube videos. They tune out after about 3 minutes. That's usually the max that people watch my videos. We'll do another video showing you the children. So, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm going to pack this video up. We're going to go. But I hope you enjoyed another installment of Old School Cool.